Hello everybody, welcome to this Nexus Gaming Series event. It's Division D East. Mistakes were made versus That Was Jimmy. We're in Season 5. This is Round 2 action. We'll be starting in just a moment. In the meantime, we can look at some stats by both teams here. Thanks to everyone in chat who's joining us this afternoon / evening, depending on where you are. Maybe it's even morning somewhere where you're watching. If we look at the lineups here, we can get maybe a sneak preview of some of the heroes we might be seeing in these two matches, as well as some statistical comparisons between the two teams. Mistakes Were Made are entering this contest with a 7-3 record and 2 dominations. That Was Jimmy has a 6-2 record with 2 dominations. Mistakes Were Made are currently occupying 5th place. That Was Jimmy, our 3rd right now on the schedule. Mistakes Were Made banned out Towers of Doom. That Was Jimmy banned out Cursed Hollow. And our first map picked by Mistakes Were Made is Infernal Shrines. I'm going to ask if both captains are ready. And if so, we can hop into the draft and get this 2-game set started. And both captains are ready. Let's do it. Welcome everybody, once again, as we enter the draft proper here. Mistakes Were Made is your blue team on the left side of your screen, and That Was Jimmy will be playing on the right in red. As we see an Asmodan ban right away, one of the most banned heroes in NGS right now. I want to say hello to ABGM's Prime and Watersnake4. Thanks for stopping in. As well as R-Barb Z's. It's 2 Z's. And everyone else who might be watching. We have more bans coming out. Mistakes Were Made bans Alex Straza. That Was Jimmy bans Whitemane. And we have a second ban, which will be Genji from Mistakes Were Made. That takes care of the first round of bans from both teams, and Deckard Cain, the premier support in the game right now, is taken by That Was Jimmy. High priority on Deckard. The response from Mistakes Were Made comes in the form of Diablo and Phoenix. Mistakes Were Made wanting to solidify that tank role. Phoenix gives you nice flexibility. Could be your offlaner. Maybe he's in the 4-player rotation. Kael'thas and Yrel coming out in the next rotation for That Was Jimmy. Yrel, one of the best offlaners right now, many might say. And Kael'thas, all-around strong mage, right up there with Jaina, which we might see banned here in this 3rd ban phase, as she has been winning games, and she's in most games. Instead, we see Johanna banned out. A little bit of a tank choke coming out from Mistakes Were Made. They already secured their Diablos. They wanted to get rid of arguably the best frontliner in the game, in many ways. Let's see what this final ban is from That Was Jimmy. Don't have a support, so we might see a support ban, since Mistakes Were Made have not chosen that yet. Nope, there's the Jaina ban, as was prophesied. So a nice mage choke there. That was Jimmy, has arguably the best support and the best mage on their team. They also have a very strong offlaner in Urel. Great draft so far. Mistakes were made. Grabbed Stukov, and Gul'dan. Stukov is my favorite support to play right now. Silence is so incredibly strong. Just remove the opponent's buttons from the game as long as they're standing in your circle. And Gul'dan, tons of damage. Horrify is nothing to laugh at. It's a game-winning ultimate in some cases. Hanzo and ETC round out the team for That Was Jimmy. So, strong front line. ETC seems to be a little bit of a... Well, he's in a controversial place right now. Is he good? Is he not? I think he's good. That's my vote. Does everything you need a tank to do. And Dahaka, finishing off this draft. That will be a nice complement to Urel in any kind of solo lane situation they find themselves in. Plus the global, plus the stun. Looking good from both teams. Don't see any weaknesses really in either of these lineups. Bolt 1120. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up for this 2-game match between Mistakes Were Made and That Was Jimmy. Mistakes were made on the blue side. Gul'dan, played by Noldat. Diablo, played by Spork. Phoenix, played by Runtime Logic. Kyle566 will be playing Stukov, and Dahaka will be played by X-Rice. Zrice. In the red is That Was Jimmy. Kael'thas, played by HitDog867. Hanzo, played by Bridgekeeper. Urel, played by Everstorm. ETC by Pidgelock. And Deckard, played by Watersnake. Let's go ahead and get me off the screen here and get into the game as we finish loading in here. So chat, what's your prediction here? Which draft do you think looks strongest? Seems very evenly matched to me. We have lots of poke on the side of That Was Jimmy, but mistakes were made. We can say the same thing about them.
Prepare yourselves for battle, heroes.
Nice balanced damage sources available to both teams. Auto attack and ability. We have two really great supports. I'll be curious to see what kind of ETC we're going to end up with here.
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
So we'll keep an eye on that when level 10 rolls around.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the battle begin.
Let the battle begin. Urel is going to move on up to that top lane right away. We'll see a little Hanzo air in the middle, giving some vision. And a little bit of a tentative start here. Look at some level 1 talents. We have the corruption-based Gul'dan. As Pidgelock slides in, takes a little bit of corruption damage, gives Gul'dan a couple of stacks on that quest. Stukov going with Poppin' Pustules. What else is of note here? As we have a rotation from mid to bot by most of the members of both teams. Well, maybe not. We have 10 seconds for siege camps to spawn, so I wonder what kind of prioritization we'll see from both teams in that regard. We do have a mana addict Kael'thas. Seems to be the most common pick right now at level 1. And a nice tight rotation here. Or That Was Jimmy for V1 situation. Mistakes were made. Gonna go ahead and start their camp. They are the first ones to begin murking. Let's check out the top lane for a little bit. Incredibly even. No hard engages or anything, although there's a leap in with a tongue into some little bit of tower tickle right there. Meanwhile, siege camp on the red side of the map is being taken by That Was Jimmy. And mistakes were made are working on the bottom lane siege camp, having already secured their own blue side camp. And we're back to it. Little mini confrontation here in the middle. As That Was Jimmy continues with their rotation. And level 4 talents have been achieved by both teams. As we continue to manage our lanes here. Urel and ETC slow to pick their talents. They have some thinking to do. Loudspeakers finally picked by ETC. Urel still playing it close to the chest. Well, improved life tap from Gul'dan. And the first shrine activates. Well, it's available for activation right now. As we have a little bit of a mid lane activity here. But ultimately, That Was Jimmy will go ahead and start the objective. It's a race to 40 minions killed. Spork and Kyle 566 rotating in. There's a flip and a shove from Spork. There's a tongue on Pidgelock. It's going to go very low here, but will escape. We're still looking for first blood, folks. Both teams should hit level 7 pretty much concurrently. Spork trying to flank here, very far forward. There's a slide, a couple of stuns. Galbo can absorb a lot of damage. Gets down to single-digit health there before escaping. As That Was Jimmy seems to be taking over the point here. Spork still tickling. But the Arcane Punisher summoned on the side of That Was Jimmy. Get the standard leap over the gate. Dahaka and Urel soaking away from the main action here. Spork taking a alternate route around that terrain there.
Red team's Punisher has fallen.
And That Was Jimmy will go ahead and rotate middle. Maybe get just a tiny bit of siege done here. Remains to be seen. Instead, they're going to rotate down and start doing merc camps. Same with mistakes were made, as level 7 talents are now available for both teams. We have the Bound by Shadow for Gul'dan, Eternal Flames by Diablo. What's Phoenix up to? Combat advantage, so get that bonus damage on slowed targets. Pretty standard selection there. Stukov going for a targeted excision at level 7. There's a slide onto Phoenix, and that will be first blood. Nicely seen by Pidgelock and followed up by Watersnake with a slow. First blood for That Was Jimmy at the just behind the 6-minute mark. A little more roaming around, more PvE going on. Mistakes were made cleaning up that merc camp as That Was Jimmy rotates back to the middle. That Was Jimmy will be hitting 10 first, most likely. They're about a half level ahead now, so it remains to be seen what they will do when they hit that ultimate level. If you look at the top lane 1v1 here for a moment. Kind of a repeat of earlier where we saw the tongue come out. A little bit of building damage from the towers. Water Snake and Everstorm working on the bruiser camp here. Got actually another kill in the meantime. So both teams have 1 kill to their names. Kyle566 and Noldat securing the bruiser camp there to even out this top lane.
It will be made to serve us.
And in 20 seconds we're going to have another objective fight. Wraith v ESG in chat says, I think the Gul'dan and Phoenix can chew ETC down enough that he can't frontline very well. So we'll see. We'll see if that prediction comes true. Vigilok might have something to say about that. We shall see. Out comes the stun arrow from Bonzo. Urel, very hard to kill, survives that aggression from basically the entire Mistakes Were Made team. And ultimates have been chosen by both teams as we enter this second shrine phase. Out comes the lightning breath. There's the mosh pit. And Lornado. And Horrify. All kinds of ultimates coming out. And ETC will be the first to die in this contest here. Everstorm down to 100 health is able to walk away. Gul'dan getting the credit on that ETC. As Mistakes Were Made are up to 31 minions killed. Looks like they're going to secure the second Punisher of the match. And there it is. It's going to be a frozen Punisher. This is a nice back and forth game. Mistakes Were Made is now ahead. The next peep. Leap over the wall. Catches Bridgekeeper. The Water Snake heals him up. As that gate is melted by Mistakes Were Made, and they continue to make progress in this middle lane. Hit Dog taking the siege camp for a little extra pressure. And that is the first dead fort of the game. Looks like Mistakes Were Made are going to take this. Well, they get a little bit of damage out on that gate anyway. Vigilok looking for a little bit of aggression on Spork, but out comes the stun arrow again. Kael'thas ultimate is used, but no one dies. Lornado used as a disengage. And that's all she wrote for that particular engagement. But that was Jimmy once more. They take the red siege camp, or the blue siege camp, make it red rather. A nice little camp invade there. We're going to continue painting this map red by securing the bot lane siege camp. There's a nice stun from Diablo. Bridgekeeper able to leap away over that wall. There have been some moments of potential here from both frontliners. Nice aggressive mentality, looking for some pick setups here and there, catch people out of position. Spork saw an empty lane up here. Moved on up to confront Everstorm. And here we had a potential 4v1. There comes the KT stun and the Phoenix kill. Stukov is going to die as well. Hanzo securing that kill. So 2 picks. Or that was Jimmy. Ever since they lost that Immortal, they've been on the hunt, playing very aggressively, venturing into mistakes were made territory, and it's been paying off for them. A couple of Merc takes and kills. And now they are ahead on XP, so this has been a very, very back and forth affair. It's anybody's match. That was Jimmy is now a little over a half level ahead of mistakes were made. Next shrine is up in 25 seconds. It's going to be a top lane contest. That was Jimmy working on their bruiser cam. And we have a little bit of a fort aggression here from Pidgelock and HitDog867. Looks like they're waiting for their minions to get there, but no, they decide let's go ahead and rotate up. Also, there's a huge fight going on, drawing their attention. Nice ultimate there from Urel to make sure that she stays alive. Bridgekeeper is going to have to go back, being low on health. But ETC did finish off that fort, so they got it after all. But Noldat is going to start this objective phase. Get an early lead on it. While that was Jimmy is still kind of rotating up. But mistakes were made are already up to 21 kills. They do back out though. Not quite ready for the full-on fight. Wanting to find their shape perhaps. They do have time to find the engage that they want since they have 27 kills to 13. Everstorm leaping in and getting crowd controlled pretty hard. Moshpit will help save her life though. Phoenix getting stunned and rooted, and nice vision there from Hanzo, finding the kill, threading the needle. Lightning Breath comes out. Some spread damage. Hit Dog is very low. Gul'dan uses his ultimate to try to make a difference. No one dies from it. Until Hanzo kills Tahaka. Nice slide in from Pidgelock will secure another kill. And mistakes were made. Will secure the Punisher, even though 4 of them had to die to make it happen. 17 to 16 in favor of That Was Jimmy, as this blue Punisher does a little bit of work top lane. The majority of our players have abandoned it. That Was Jimmy making a move here to get more siege damage of their own done. Hit Dog 867 being really aggressive here with the PvE, securing that camp. ETC having to power slide to safety along with the Lornado use. It's okay to throw out that Lornado whenever you feel it's necessary. The cooldown's short. So really a lot of dynamic motion coming out from both teams. A lot of mobility available. So there's an interesting flow to this game. Out comes Purification from Runtime Logic and Fire Breath. Actually, Lightning Breath. I don't want to say Fire Breath all the time. Spork is in trouble here and will die. Hanzo's getting another kill. That Was Jimmy has 9 kills. Mistakes were made. Has tallied 3 so far. And with that kill, That Was Jimmy will go ahead and cash in that XP by killing the middle fort. They also saw Runtime Logic up here, and they invade the camp successfully. Nice invade there. So we have Mercs there, we have Mercs bot lane. And a whole lot of red activity in top lane. That Was Jimmy seemed really hungry for extra siege damage. Emboldened by the fact that they're up 19 to 17, they're about half a level away, or now less, to level 20. Nice disengage on Spork there, although Pitchlock engages. Gets a one-person mosh pit, but is silenced out of it. Lightning Breath. Purification Salvo. And Diablo gets credit for a Yrel kill. So this might be what we could have expected from two of the top teams in the division. It's very close, it's very back and forth. And now we see an invade. Why mistakes were made. It seems like everything one team does is echoed by the other. But level 20s have been attained by That Was Jimmy. As mistakes were made, clean up some of the lanes. And we have a shrine activating right now. As soon as someone flips the switch, and that will be Spork. There's a stone on ETC and a flip. ETC will slide out to safety. A little bit of KT spread damage. Getting some value there. And right now we're just in a poke phase. There comes the engage from Spork, Lightning Breath. You see that timed with Purification Salvo almost every time. Nice coordination there. Stukov will die to Kael'thas though. So we're looking at a 5v4. Perhaps not entirely surprising given the 20 to 18 advantage enjoyed by That Was Jimmy. So the Arcane Punisher is theirs. That was Jimmy also taking the camp that will march up middle. Dahaka doing some siege top lane. As the Punisher jumps over the gate, which will get torn down very quickly by That Was Jimmy. Dahaka remains top lane, trying to get as much value as possible. But that keep is going to die. First keep killed of the game. Nice slide by Pidgeot, catching two members of mistakes were made. The Stukov disengage does not save Gul'dan. Diablo also dead. And the core is going down fast. We're at 20% and 0%. And that's GG for That Was Jimmy, winning game one of this 2-game set. As we hop on over to the match summary screen and take a look at some of these numbers. Fantastic back and forth contest there. That Was Jimmy seemed to be on fire after they lost that top lane Punisher. After that, they got real hungry for buildings. Ended up winning the contest. Couple of standouts. Kael'thas with top hero damage in the game. Hit Dog 867 doing really well. And getting a clean sheet, as I call a no-death game, with 3 kills, 9 assists, 55k hero damage, and 6-figure siege damage. Bridgekeeper on Hanzo doing extremely well. 5 kills, only 1 death. Stukov out-healing Deckard, but dying 3 times in the process. Deckard dying only once, staying safe. 12 kills for That Was Jimmy. Mistakes were made with 4. They just weren't able to find as many opportunities to seal the deal in this match. So, well played by both teams. But game one will go to That Was Jimmy. Let me go ahead and give them a point here. Hope everybody is having a great time out there. Thank you so much for joining us for this Division D East matchup. We're still in round 2 in NGS. And you're looking at the 3rd and 5th place teams in the Division D East. So I'm expecting game 2 to be just as fascinating as this one was. We'll be heading to Tomb of the Spider Queen for game 2. That map was picked by That Was Jimmy. So let me go ahead and set that up. I'll see you on the flip side of my intermission screen. So hang loose and see you in a minute.
Hello and welcome to another Battleground overview for Heroes of the Storm. Let's take a quick look at what you'll need to do to find victory in the Tomb of the Spider Queen. Tomb of the Spider Queen is a compact, 3-lane battleground under the control of a mysterious and powerful matriarch. The Queen, controlling this crypt, is willing to ally with you and your team in exchange for the riches gathered inside this dark tomb. Spider gems can be acquired off the spider minions that push down the lanes and by taking out enemy heroes. These ethereal gems will not hang around indefinitely. If you do not pick them up quickly, they will disappear forever. Turn in enough of these gems and the Spider Queen will deploy her web weavers to attack your enemies. Each subsequent time you return to seek the help of the Spider Queen, she will ask for even more gems than before, so prepare your supplication accordingly. Once the web weavers have been deployed, they will travel quickly down their respective lanes and enter the fray against your opponent's minions and fortifications. Each web weaver will summon periodic sets of melee warriors to support their efforts, and is capable of having up to 6 active at any time. The web weavers themselves also periodically fire a traveling AoE blast that you will need to keep an eye out for. Victory in this tomb will be decided by your team's effectiveness at controlling lanes. You will want to do everything you can to acquire gems, while also denying your opponents access to them. If you take out a hero carrying a wealth of gems, these gems will drop to the ground, but only be available for recovery by the team that dropped them. Do everything you can to ensure that these displaced gems disappear before your opponents can recollect them, and you will certainly find yourself inching ever closer to a win. If you are unable to keep your enemy from gathering gems, you can deny their ability to turn them in at either of the 2 drop-off locations. Due to the compact layout of the map and the objective design, this battleground is rife with action. If you are looking to augment your strategy, there are also 4 mercenary camps spread across the map. Will your team successfully please the Spider Queen, or will she crush you?
Alright everybody, so we are headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Both captains are ready, so let's go ahead and kick off Game 2's draft.
Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Alright, welcome back. So, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Usually see really tight rotations from teams on this smallish map. You have to collect those gems from the minions and turn them in. And you push with the web weavers as they descend. First 2 bands. Deckard banned by mistakes were made. And Asmodan banned by That Was Jimmy. Some pretty standard 1-2 bans there. Urel is banned a lot. And she's banned here by Mistakes Were Made. This is a really fast banning phase. No thinking required as Genji is eliminated from possibility. First pick of the game is Phoenix. Mistakes Were Made liked what they saw out of game 1 in that respect. High prioritization placed on Johanna and Whitemane, and for good reason. Both heroes doing very well this season. Exemplary healing out of Whitemane. You do get some crowd control with a later talent. And Johanna basically does it all.
I'm here to help.
Speaking of doing it all, we see Jaina picked by Mistakes Were Made and Diablo. So strong heroes prioritized here. No huge surprises. No wacky pocket picks yet. As we enter the second and final ban phase. That was Jimmy taking a little more time here to pick out Alex Straza. Removing her from the game. And final ban is Kael'thas. Mistakes Were Made, not wanting to deal with that spread damage. And those stuns, one of the few assassins who have the stun. So, Mistakes Were Made has an extremely strong mage. Unless we see something like a Kel'Thuzad out of That Was Jimmy, that's pretty good advantage. So we're seeing Gul'dan and Blaze. Blaze giving you off lane, giving you slows. There's a stun in the mix there. Bunker, one of the best escapes in the game. And Gul'dan, as we saw last game, can put out the damage. 4-5 is always something to fear. And to finish off this draft, Mistakes Were Made. We'll pick Thrall and Stukov. No Malfurion. Malfurion is commonly chosen, so you never know if you're going to see Malfurion pop up in a game, but not this time. Thrall giving you hard CC with the root. Lots of damage potentially if you can get in there. Two interesting ultimates as well. And Cassia finishes off our draft. That was Jimmy picking up Cassia, rounding out their damage. As teams decide if they want to swap any heroes, and then we'll go ahead and get into the match. Just want to remind chat, there is a 2-minute delay, so if I don't respond to something you say right away, that's why. All games in NGS have 2-minute stream delay. Alright. Time to get started here. We have Mistakes Were Made in the blue. Noldat playing Jaina. Spork playing Diablo. Kyle566 playing Stukov. Phoenix played by Runtime Logic, and Thrall played by, I want to say Zrice. I need to clarify that. Gul'dan played by Bridgekeeper. Blaze played by Everstorm. Cassia played by HitDog867. Vigilok is playing Johanna, and Watersnake will be piloting that Whitemane. As we load in here, go ahead and remove me from the screen. Alright, game 2, folks. That was Jimmy over on the red side, in the hunt for a domination today. But over on the blue side, Mistakes Were Made are looking to prevent that and come out with a 1-1 draw. Both teams have scored 2 dominations so far this season, so That Was Jimmy is no stranger to that kind of outcome.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
But mistakes are made are doing really well this season. They're 7-3 record. 7-4 now, I guess, after game 1. Let's look at the level 1 talent choices. Another corruption-based Gul'dan. Seeing the Neural Stim pack out of Blaze. Cassie is going to go with a Thunderstroke choice at level 1. As we have kind of a full-on fight here right away. Usually there's a 4-1 rotation system put into place on this map, and we are going to see that. Thrall is going to be your offlaner against Blaze. And they're going at it. We're all getting down to about half health. What else do we see here? We see Laws of Hope and Martyrdom out of Whitemane, so a Q-based Desperate Plea comp coming out of Whitemane perhaps. And we have a slightly unusual rotation down to bottom lane by Hit Dog and Water Snake. They're prioritizing this camp, leaving Gul'dan to manage top lane, and Pidgelock to hold down middle just to soak that XP. So a little bit of a variation on the standard theme here. It's nice to see. Zerice is pronounced with a Z. Thank you, Wraith, for clarifying that for me. So we're going to have a bottom lane push here, or they're just going to leave those mercs there to help out Blaze as they return to middle here. That was Jimmy. And Thrall is going to die in that bottom lane. So all that effort down there paid off. Everstorm making the most of it. Bottom lane is unusually busy in this match. It's nice to see. A little change of pace. Both teams have level 4 talents now, with That Was Jimmy taking a little bit of an XP lead, in part thanks to that kill that they secured in bot lane. So Jaina took Fingers of Frost and is following up with Frost Shards. We're seeing Devil's Due and Souls to the Flame out of Diablo. Mobile Offense and Emergency Protocol out of Phoenix. Echo of the Elements into Mana Tide for Thrall. As Pidgelock's in rather deep, but it is Johanna, so at any time you can just pop that Iron Skin and walk out of things that get too scary. And Stukov is doing Pop and Pustules and Vigorous Reuptake. Everstorm is rather low on mana. Everything else looking pretty good for both teams in bot lane. Hit Dog looks like they might fall here. 50 health and kill secured by Phoenix. The slows were just too much to deal with. So now we are 1 kill apiece. Spork turning in 3 gems. There, Noldat and Runtime Logic turning in their gems. Both teams do have a turn-in available. Mistakes were made a mere 9 gems away. As level 7s are attained by both teams. Oh, we might see a charge in there from Spork. Just a little bit of a fire tickle there on Pidgelock, who has 33 gems. That happens a lot to Johanna on this map, where she ends up carrying a lot of gems and can't quite get them turned in. Spork taking some damage here. Nothing they can't handle. As the flow of the game moves to the bottom turn-in momentarily, both teams looking to secure that first Web Weaver. Pidgelock will get those gems turned in. And so the red Web Weavers will be descending in just a few moments, as Blaze is left to push bottom lane all by their lonesome. Full-on Q build from Whitemane, by the way. And it looks like That Was Jimmy is going to support their red Web Weavers most heavily in the middle here. 4 team members involved to 3 defenders. And Phoenix is going to get blinded and blown up. That's 2 kills in total for That Was Jimmy. Pidgelock doing a little bit of harassment there on Spork, as the rest of That Was Jimmy moves down here and catches Zrice, who will escape with their life this time. And that will be the first fort kill of the game for That Was Jimmy. Which means they also arrive at 10 first. And we have a camp invade here. Thunderstorm not quite landing that stun. Kind of a dangerous bunched up position there. Kyle saw it. There's a nicely placed silence right in that vent, where there were at least 4 red life bars all bunched up. And mistakes were made. Get their turn in, so we're going to see some blue Web Weavers this time, marching left to right. Top lane is often prioritized on this map because it's where the boss resides. And it looks like mistakes were made are going to go ahead and follow that strategy to a certain extent. Of course, as soon as I say that, they rotate mid. There's a stun on Everstorm. Blaze having to walk away ever so slowly here, trying to survive. Bunker will come out with the salvo from Phoenix. Lightning Breath, lots of ultimates being used. Spork with a charge and a flip on Bridgekeeper. Pidgelock doing a great job playing that tank role, but Jaina will die. Whitemane getting the credit for that. It's now 5v4. That Was Jimmy. Sees there's still some Web Weaver action bot lanes, so they rotate down to finish that off. Looks like mistakes were made. Got a gate and a gate. Couple of towers bought. Not as much value as That Was Jimmy got with their first turn in. Red team does have a second turn in online. They just need to turn in those gems. 60-71 being carried actually by them. We're at 12-11. Everstorm getting caught here. Raw uses his ultimate. And kill secured. Blaze saying bye-bye for the next 20 seconds. And that is going to give a fork to mistakes were made after that nice aggression there. Just above that, we had a bruiser camp taken by That Was Jimmy. And they're looking to turn in. But Spork doesn't like it. Charge in and a flip on Johanna with Lightning Breath. Ring of Frost coming out. Phoenix is going to die after being horrified. Nicely timed ultimate there out of Gul'dan. And Pidgelock moving in, followed by their team onto this middle fort. Everstorm sliding in against 3 mistakes were made players in that little hallway. Bit of a risky maneuver there. And that was Jimmy. Gets their turn-ins, so we're going to be seeing more giant spiders walking down these lanes. Bottom lane is pushed not in their favor. So they're going to go ahead and finish off this fort and then rotate top. Top lane, as I said earlier, often prioritized. Not so in this game. Until now. Level 13 times were earned a little while ago. By that was Jimmy. So they now have a 14-12 lead. Going to make it rather difficult for mistakes were made to win some of these engages, perhaps. More ultimates coming out from Thrall, Jaina, Diablo. So much damage everywhere. Both supports keeping their respective teams alive through it all. Top lane fort does die, as Spork has a 3v1 situation to just walk away from. And we're down to 1 Web Weaver progressing up this bottom lane. Zerice with a little bit of poke to be careful. 24 gems on Thrall. Keep that in mind as the game progresses. That was Jimmy. Is on this camp immediately. Whitemane off doing things by themselves. Mistakes were made. Taking their bruiser camp. Seeing a little bit of top lane interest here. That could very well draw mistakes were made attention. They think there's some boss posturing, but no. Instead, mistakes were made want to get their own turn in. But that was Jimmy doesn't like that idea. So they're going to dance around the periphery here. Zerice with the 28 gems. Looks like they're going to get a turn in. And let's see if mistakes were made can get more value this time out of their blue web weavers. Lightning breath coming out, as well as Horrify, and Phoenix will be the first to die there again. Zerice dying as well to Whitemane. And Jaina losing her life as Spork tries to get out, but he's slowed. Basically everything unloaded onto Diablo, with Jaina getting credit for that kill. 16-14 in favor of that was Jimmy. And with all those kills, they're going to be able to clear up these Red Weavers pretty easily. So a couple of lowish value turn-ins for mistakes were made. That was Jimmy did a good job of reversing the status of this bottom lane. It was pushed in favor of mistakes were made, you'll remember, earlier on. But they had it completely pushed into blue territory by the time those web weavers descended. 17-14 in favor of that was Jimmy now. I wonder if they'll get more and more aggressive here. Valkyrie with the engage. Fire breath. Once again we have ultimates galore, but Bunker does a good job. A great job of protecting just about everybody in red. And 2 kills are secured. That was a 2-0 engagement. But that was Jimmy. And they're going to want boss, it looks like. Death timers are still not incredibly long. Mistakes were made. We'll have a full team in about 6 seconds. But it looks like that was Jimmy's going to go ahead and secure this, although mistakes were made is moving up. Not in time, though. No boss steal this time, folks.
Well done, red team. My power is yours.
So that was very nicely timed by That Was Jimmy. They took the boss and then got their turn in right away. There's a flip from Spork. Out comes Ring. Out comes Salvo. Lightning Breath. The disengage from Kyle566. Runtime logic. Almost dying there, but escaping this time. And Zrice is in big trouble. Blaze getting the kill there. That's 2 deaths on the side of mistakes were made. And That Was Jimmy. Have a really huge advantage here. Boss plus Web Weavers. Fortunately for mistakes were made, the other 2 lanes are pushed out quite a bit, so if they can somehow stop this push, they can keep the game going. So that's going to be a tall order with 1 member still dead and a 15 to 19 level deficit. Stun comes out from Blaze. And Core is dying very quickly. It will be GG off of that turn-in and boss combo, as That Was Jimmy wins game 2 for the domination. Ooh. 12 kills to 2. That Was Jimmy meaning business that time. Jaina doing her best. 108 siege damage for mistakes were made. Top hero damage on the blue side from Runtime Logic, the 113 line, but 33k hero damage. Eclipsed by Cassia, however. Played by HitDog867 on the side of That Was Jimmy with 43k hero damage and a 471 line. Stukov doing well. Played by Kyle566. Keeping up with Whitemane's heals. Neither healer dying in that game, but Whitemane with her offensive bent getting 3 kills in that game. Well played by both teams, but That Was Jimmy cashing in on their advantages, especially at the end there. That really nicely timed boss plus objective turn-in. It'll be difficult to deal with that anytime you see it. And they take game 2. So let's see if we can have a little conversation here with Bridgekeeper. Send them a message. You can just have a short conversation here for the end of the broadcast. Thanks once again, everyone, for tuning in to this Division D East matchup between 2 top-of-the-table teams. Mistakes were made, and That Was Jimmy. Setting up the possible interview here. All right, hanging out in a lobby. I'll just go ahead and show the talents one more time here. Shortish game, we got to level 16 for only one of the two teams. Looks like instead of Bridge Keeper, we'll have another member of That Was Jimmy joining me for our post-game conversation. And then I'll look to raid. We have other NGS games going on right now. I do believe we'll take a peek at that schedule and find another game to join.
Hello.
Hey, this is HitDog867, yes?
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me for a little conversation at the end of this 2-0 domination by That Was Jimmy. How y'all feeling after that?
I'd say we're feeling pretty good. Last week we had some shaky plays and we went 1-1 and that was a great time. But I'd say we came back strong this week. Had a few missteps, but I thought we had some pretty clean games there.
For sure. What do you think changed from then until now?
We definitely, before our drafts, we had a game plan for what we wanted to do, and then if that was taken from us, what our next step was, and then what the next step beyond that was, and that really, I think it showed.
Any surprises for you guys during the draft phases of either game, or did you pretty much see what you expected to see out of your opponent today?
No big surprises. We've played some of those comps in the past, and we know they're really good. So when we saw especially the Jaina Phoenix during game 2 there, we were a little nervous because we know how strong that can be. But I think we turned out pretty well in our draft side of things.
Yeah, there's a large kill disparity, especially in game 2. So it seems like you were firing on all cylinders today. Walk me through game 1 a little bit in terms of your team maybe mood, because that game was especially back and forth throughout. So how did you hold that together as a team?
I'll tell you what, after we had our first our Hanzo was taking the camp and he got killed by the camp, it was a little frustrating, but we knew we made a mistake and we didn't do it again, and that was really important to us. But every time we made a mistake, we had a game plan for the next team fight, and we came back and we executed, I think, pretty well.
Yeah, definitely, and the results are there for sure. So yeah, you came in 3rd place, and with that domination, you'll be 8-2. So rest of the season looking pretty good for you guys.
Yeah, I know we're gonna play the top team here coming up, and that'll be it's a little scary, but I'm really excited to see what we can do against them, and learn a thing or two from what they do also.
Right. Well, that's one nice thing about the divisions I'm finding as a fellow player, is that we're all grouped together pretty well in terms of MMR range and whatnot. So you always have
Absolutely.
a chance every week, right, or every game, it seems like.
Right.
So, but I won't keep you for too long. Do you have any shout outs or anything like that you'd like to give?
Let's see. I'll say after that last game, we'll say this whole these 2 games, I put myself into some pretty scary situations, but my healer really got me out of it. So props to him for his clutch heals on both Whitemane and Deckard.
Yeah, fantastic matches. I mentioned earlier, Water Snake had a 3-8-0 line with 57k heals. So.
Yeah, it was a really good series, and I'm glad we came out on top, and I thank the other team for a good couple games.
Awesome. Well, it was a lot of fun to watch, so thank you for that, and thanks for joining me once again, and good luck to you in the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, see you later.
See ya.